Okay, once again, we have had a chance to talk to Chuck Spezzano. I think it was 1 year ago, nearly one year ago. In summer last year, we have had a talk and a podcast together, especially about what's going on around the world and all the crises we have to go through at the moment. It seemed to. We have war, we have inflation, recession. Chuck, after 1 year, what is your viewpoint about the world? What's going on around the world at the moment? Is it crazy, or do you think it's in the flow? Are there hope? What is your viewpoint?
Well, I think there's hope.
Oh, that's good.
I believe there's hope. It's like there are definitely some danger zones. Mm-hmm. Over 30 years ago, my sense was the biggest flashpoint for World War III was China, Taiwan, mm-hmm. U.S., it seems to be heating up, mm-hmm. That problem. Mm-hmm. But actually, there's just in this last couple months some little shoots of hope, some things about there being a bridge. Mm-hmm. I'm on the board of the Zhou Enlai Peace Institute.
Okay.
So, and I work with a couple. She's Chinese. He's American, and it's all about bridging mm-hmm. and finding a way where our two cultures. If we fail in that flashpoint, what happens is there's 1,000 years.
Oh wow!
Of devastation, especially the next 30. Mm-hmm. But if we succeed, it's 1,000 years of prosperity. We've taken two opposite things and found a way to find the best of both, to really make a bridge. Mm-hmm. And so that's a real sign of hope. It seems that we're going through a transition. I can feel myself going through a transition. I look out at the world and the world is going through a transition. Mm-hmm. I have a close friend of mine. He has cancer, mm-hmm. Inoperable cancer, mm-hmm. Tumor close to his heart, and things like this. And it's just in the last few days, and everything's a metaphor. Everything's a signal if you mm-hmm. know how to read it. And just in the last few days, I saw signs where he was turning back toward life, turning toward health. And
wow.
I once worked under a submarine captain, mm-hmm. and he said he could look at the ocean and know exactly, by looking at the flotsam and jetsam, exactly know all the currents. Mm-hmm. And so since the 70s, I've been just looking at the signals, mm-hmm. What's going on. So it seems a mess, and it may seem a mess for a couple months more, but this month coming up is a month of transition where things can turn around, mm-hmm. where things can move in an opposite direction, mm-hmm. which means that in the long run, and I've written this in my newsletter every month, what's going on is people who've been really independent could now actually really go for partnership, mm-hmm. for interdependence. Mm-hmm. And people who really have partnership can actually really turn toward radical dependence, mm-hmm. which is the radical feminine, is spirituality, mm-hmm. because they just know that this world is a dream, and let's have a happy dream, and then let's transcend the dream. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty radical.
Yeah.
Just listen within.
So it sounds great on the one side, but when I hear it, I can feel that there's a lot of people who are losing hope at the moment. Mm-hmm. They are losing trust. And when they hear, oh, there's hope, you say, oh, there's a little bit of hope at the moment. I realize that a lot of people will say, oh no, Chuck, come on, there's no hope in this world. It's going down forever. We are in a mess, there's war, there's recession, there's inflation, there's, I don't know. At the moment, I feel when I talk to people, they are so nervous. Like, I think in my lifetime, I never saw a time where people are so nervous and so stressed out, and at the end, maybe a little bit hopeless, a little bit like giving up, living like, okay, let me go to a cave and tell me when it's over. It's like like this idea. So, what is your answer to this idea of hopelessness? Of I don't know, let's give up.
Okay, so there's at least three major points to speak to that. The first is in the 70s. I was working. I think it might have been 1975 or 76, and I was working with a young man. And he began talking about how it was all over. Nuclear winter is coming. We've lost it all. And, we were sitting there. And after about 30, 40 minutes, I began to realize this guy was majorly suicidally depressed. Nothing else on the surface, but just his experience. See, when we look at the outside, we're actually reading the inside. And by changing the inside, you can change the outside. Let me give you one thing about hopelessness, about despair. And that would be that what I found is that when you're in despair, when you're just hopeless, there's somebody that needs your help.
Yeah.
And maybe many people. So if you realize, like if I ask you, who's the person in your life that's most in despair?
At the moment, my dad.
And imagine that despair, and imagine you're feeling helpless and hopeless to help him. Imagine that was a ring of fire around him. How tall is the fire?
I don't know, 100 meters? It's tall. Yeah, it's taller than me.
But would you, in that situation, not do everything you could for him? Would you not rush through, and it's emotional fire, would you not rush through that emotional fire to embrace him, to free him?
For sure. Everything I could take, yeah.
So imagine you doing that.
Oh yeah, that feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do that, and sometimes you're the one on the inside and the people you need to help are on the outside, would you help them?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
If it was your son or your daughter,
everyone.
Yeah, everyone. And what that does, what I found, is it creates a kind of a transcendent aspect. It creates a birth, and something new develops. It might be vision. It might be a psychic gift. It might be a healing gift. It might be an artistic gift. But whatever it is, it's a vehicle that brings the light. It's a vehicle that helps you see a new way.
Wow.
So that's a part of the mind, and it opens that. A lot of times that despair is coming out of the unconscious mind, and we've all been totally frightened of that. Probably 7 years ago, I was writing about how the unconscious is coming to the surface, and what helps you with that is partnership. Because if you have somebody guarding your back, that means everything.
Especially in this time,
Especially in this time. It's a time of transition, and faith and hope and trust are really crucial. But I'll get back to that point. So, to having that partnership, is there some person, a friend, your wife, one of your children, your mother, somebody that you're just in partnership and you're doing everything to build that. And then when I worked with the Marines, their highest compliment was, I would want you in my foxhole.
Oh yeah, that's really deep, yeah.
Because what they're saying is nobody would get to my back unless you're gone.
Yeah, it makes me cry a little bit. It's very, very deep, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So
can feel it, yeah.
How many people? I mean, when you see these cop movies, Lethal Weapon, all those movies, it's the partnership of those two men that really is what gets you, is what makes you return to the series.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the man who won't give up. I remember one of the. It was one of those early movies.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know what title you mean.
Who's the movie star who just recently retired because he was starting to lose?
Oh, it's
Die Hard.
Die Hard. Yeah, Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis. No, yeah.
Get to my age and
yeah. In our age, Bruce Willis for sure. Die Hard. Yeah.
So, and there's one thing where he's with the terrorist that's going to wipe out the whole eastern seaboard of the things, and he's there with the guy, and before he gets there, the hacker who's going to help him save everything, they say, "Why you? You're just a cop."
Yeah.
He goes, "I'm the one.
Yeah.
I'm the one that sees what's happening. I'm the one that can do it."
Wonderful. Yeah.
And he did it. At the end, he got the terrorist gun and shot himself so that through him, the terrorist got killed.
Yeah. I remember the scene. Yeah.
But it's like, there's a line in the Course in Miracles. It says, everyone is called, but few choose to listen.
I know this line, yeah.
Yeah. Will you be that one that answers the call?
I think that's very important at the moment. This message is really important.
And you don't have to know what to do or say. You just listen for the inspiration and follow it step by step. That's one of the reasons how you get out of the dead zone also. It's like, because heaven's on our side. It's that creative force, that loving force. And it's within us and it's around us. And that's the thing that really helps people. When you painted yourself into a corner, look up. There's a way out.
So wonderful.
Yeah, so let's talk about trust.
Oh yeah, we've had this talk 1 week ago when we sit together by a very good steak, by the way. But we've had a talk about trust. Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, because people don't realize that they have a choice between faith and fear, trust and fear. And you don't realize, because we're making moment by moment those choices, and most of them are subconscious. But it's like if you make a number of choices in a positive direction, that becomes an attitude. And the same way with a negative attitude. And we can feel helpless, but that's not what we're here for. It's like since the 70s and 80s, it's watching what's happening in the world, and it seems to me that we're here at a time of transition. Let me give you an example of that.
Okay.
In the early 90s, the best psychics in the U.S. and in the world were saying by 1998 there's major cataclysm.
I've heard about it this time, for sure, yeah.
And, for me, it felt like what I'm here for is to say, not in my house.
Yeah.
This is the time to really, just do whatever I'm called to do. It's like, next week, on Sunday, I get home Wednesday, next week on Sunday, I fly to China to do a 5-day workshop and a day of coachings. And it seems like that's a really good time to help build that bridge between China and the U.S.
Oh, it's good. I will be in August also in China for 1 week. So
it's a crucial time. Things are happening that are positive things where there are little shoots of hope coming up. And what we can do to make it better makes everything. But let's go back to faith. Let's go back to trust.
Okay.
See, in a time of transition, it's like you could have the faith to go, I'm going forward, and then you hit a certain part where you're getting turned upside down.
Yeah, I know that exactly what you mean.
WTF, what's going on? And that's a crucial time to have faith. To keep your eye on the ball. To see the light. And the light is not just at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. The light's in you. And so if you realize that and you go for it, if you spend time inward, just a few minutes every day, where you can take time out for all the stress you're handling, all the emergencies, and just get centered. Just get centered. It's like you and heaven, you got this. When you know heaven is there, you got this.
Yeah. So, especially with trust, I think when I speak to people over the last months, people don't trust government, they don't trust the economical situation, they don't trust big companies, they don't trust the world at all. So there's, beside of hopelessness, there's also that people are losing trust in the future, in the people, in the government, whatever. Is there anything what you can say about what can some do? You're talking about go in your center, and so is there something more what people can do to build up trust again? Because sometimes I feel like I feel the pain of the people, because people with trust you can do anything, but if you lose your trust, it's like, oh my goodness, forget it, I will die in the second. It's better than go on.
And there's no problem trust wouldn't heal. So trust, faith, confidence, they all come under that category of, it's so good. Maybe I can handle this, just something to handle. But if you don't have trust, it's like, this is...
that's hell.
It'll steamroll me. Yeah. But people don't realize that they're choosing between heaven and hell. They don't realize that they're choosing between the light and the darkness. And if you can have that light inside you, okay, so now here's another aspect. Okay, so imagine, a situation that you don't trust.
At the moment, the trust in the government.
Trust in the government. Okay. So, by the way, when you don't have trust, you have power struggle. You have control. Okay. So your mind is in conflict.
Yeah, for sure.
And the government represents a part of your own mind. So it's like how to come together with that. So let's do this first.
Okay.
Can you come to the here and now? Just be now. Let go of the past.
Okay.
And when you let go of the past, how does it feel?
Oh, it feels like more freedom, and it feels joyful and everything.
And how does the future look?
More brighter. It's like more open up, so a lot of opportunities and everything. Yeah.
And could you now choose trust, choose faith?
Yeah, in the present it's very easy. That's for sure. Yeah.
See, basically what I found by working in the subconscious and unconscious is that, basically all pain, all fear, all darkness, it comes from the past. And so, if you can let go of the past or heal the past, as I work to do all the time, as you do that, then there's openings. And I know you love openings.
For sure, we both.
Yeah. You love a way forward.
Yeah.
You love a way into a new vision.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So...
it sounds so easy, At the end, people are talking about trust and everything and faith and everything in the last months a lot. So they feel that this is the main point which are missing. When you're looking at a survey, what people are looking for, you find trust, faith. What they are missing is hope, the vision. They're looking for the great vision. Where should we go in the next 10 years, 20 years? And at the end, I think when I understand it in the right way, what you're talking about is come to your center, with heaven, and go for it and trust it.
I studied vision. My doctoral dissertation in counseling psychology is on poetry.
Okay.
Because poets have written about being on the cutting edge and finding vision. And actually, it's a feminine aspect because you offer yourself up, you offer your mind up, you get present, and then the creative force comes through you. You're a lightning rod. And are you willing to be used for the world's sake, for heaven's sake? You know, to see a better way, to see a new way. But it's like to be open like a woman in love, to receive that creative force, because it's the positive vision, is the positive future, changing the now. And to build toward that.
Oh, I get chicken skin with his words. It's great. Yeah, it's wonderful. Whoa, that's deep stuff.
Yeah. And it's giving everything to be that open. And when it comes in, when you see it, when you feel it, then you paint it or write it or share it. And that may even be the harder part to, you know, what have they done with visionaries?
They kill them at the end if they're most of the time.
There's a whole spiritual tradition about angels coming to earth to help out and immediately getting slaughtered.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting with Jesus and maybe before and later on, whatever.
They were just so innocent. People felt judged.
Absolutely.
The people who carry the light, they don't judge. You know, they just see people calling for help. You know, you can judge, but then what happens is first of all, it attacks yourself. It makes you fearful. And it also hides the judgment, the guilt inside that you're going, this person needs to be punished. You know, without them, the world would be better. No, they're representing a part of our mind.
So I can feel it,
so we have the Putins and the Trumps.
We have them all in us.
We do. We do. And,
for sure.
And when you get over the Putin and Trump in you just see calls for help. You just, your compassion comes out. And you don't get stopped by it, because when you judge, the guilt gets stronger, so it's like super glue. And you're stuck.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
It's so important what you're talking about. I think this is a talk for everyone outside in the world, everyone, because it's so important at the moment, and I'm with you. It's a very crucial time at the moment, and we are right at the edge where to go and find a way. What I also feel that all the stuff we are talking about, the hopelessness, don't have trust anymore, whatever, you see it as a reflection also in our families. So there are a lot of families under stress at the moment, a lot of relationships under stress, whole families break up because of the stress. We've had COVID, everyone is locked down in their houses, whatever.
Pressure cooker.
Absolutely. And
my wife and I had a 3.5-year date.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
What do you use it for?
That's the point. But you see, also you see the fraction in families at the moment. There's a lot of stress and hopelessness, and do it make any sense to have a family at all or whatever? Is there any hope for it? What's your idea at the moment to handle it? If someone's sitting there and in front of a speaker and listen to our voice, especially to your voice and your words, and they, okay, come on, in my family it's hopelessness. You know, everyone is fighting, everyone is stressed, people don't come closer, they go far away and more far away. What is your answer to this idea of that there's no hope for families?
Well, families are crucial because they're the foundation of a country. So the stronger the families are, the stronger your relationship will be, and the stronger the whole country will be. And then the country can make its contribution to, we're, as Buckminster Fuller said, we're on spaceship Earth. We're all here together in this spaceship, and, let's learn to get along. And so the family conspiracy, and what I mean by conspiracy is a trap set up so good by the ego, it looks like there's no way out. But of course, I found this, close to 25, 30 years ago, and then began studying. Of course there's a way out, because that's heaven's will for us, that we don't get stuck. But it's like, so what's going on with the conspiracy? the number one dynamic is that people are afraid of their purpose. So most of our traumas are to this thing about our purpose, which is so great. You know, it's like your ego says, oh, Boris, you have this great purpose. And that's true. You do.
But I think that in the same moment I say, okay, not me.
Right. And then it says, and you can't possibly do it.
Yeah. And then the next idea was, oh no, not me, it's too big, or it's too... You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And the ego's, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do your purpose. Mm-hmm. But what about you and Buddha?
Yeah.
What about you and Christ?
Yeah.
It's like you can't do your purpose, but it's like heaven will do your purpose through you. Back in the late 70s, you know, after doing this healing work for almost 10 years, I discovered that any trauma, any major event, like the blow up, shattering of a family or a relationship or the death of someone, all of this and the pain was still inside people. But every time they healed it, they took a giant step toward their purpose.
Wow.
Now, on the other side of it, every time they got trapped, it was painful. So you have this pain, and where there's pain, there's separation and need. So basically, we have one core problem, it's separation. And so what changes that is joining, is unity, is friendship. So, you know, it's like years ago, it was back in the 80s, and I was looking out at the world going, oh, fuck. You know, just like, what's going to, you know, it's like a prayer. What's going to help the world?
I have this prayer every day at the moment.
And I heard the voice.
Yeah.
And when you hear the voice, you tend to listen.
Okay,
you know.
the voice, okay.
And the voice says, I said, what's going to help the world? It said, an idea. I said, what idea is going to help the world? You know? And the voice said, an idea that everybody could get behind. And I said, what idea? What's the one idea in the world that everybody could get behind?
Yeah.
And the words came in, friends helping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. The old slogan. Wonderful. Yeah.
Right.
I really love it.
Yeah. And then you see that, you know, a person, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met. And what wouldn't you do for your best friend?
Everything. So I would do everything. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you be a friend to the earth?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
You know, to just do your part. That's all you're asked to do. Do your part. Because as you shine that light, you know, all the other lights get inspired and shine their light. So that was the main thing. But also what's underneath, you know, your purpose. You know, and I did this hundreds of thousands of times with people in trauma, you know, in the worst situations of their life. And all of a sudden, light began to come through as they took the step and just basically said yes. You know, whatever it is, you know, use me. So the other thing hiding underneath it is we were willing to suffer, to run away from our purpose, but also to be independent, to do things our way.
Yeah. Do it my way or highway. What's the saying from you, right?
Right.
Do it my way or highway. I still remember this good saying.
And so it's like, what does that do in relationships? To be independent rather than to be in partnership. And basically, partnership is what takes you out of the dead zone. You know, if you give yourself 100% to your work, to your life, to your wife, to your friends, to whatever, it's like it opens ease. I mean, it's a paradox. And it opens freedom. And so you feel this sense of this liberty and this...
Wow.
And it makes then success. It creates flow. So, and when you're in the flow, I mean, you know, on the basketball court, when you're in the flow...
Oh, yeah. Then you could do anything as a call, yeah, for sure.
When the whole loves you.
Yeah.
It's like, then, you know, you're your best self.
Yeah.
And as you're your best self, It inspires other people to be their best selves.
Wonderful. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really, I really can feel it. So what I see in the future, if we have any chance to go in the flow again, as a country around the world, wherever we go, and create new flow, new vision, and new hope at the end, and trust and everything. So that's wonderful. So
let's go back to family.
Okay.
So, what was the worst time you had growing up for your family? What was the worst time?
I think around, I think three years old. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's a time where people, they have a choice. Do I want high level success and my purpose and my vision, or do I want a good excuse?
I decided for the excuses.
Yeah. Well, what I found, because if you do this like hundreds of thousands of times, the biggest trauma age in our generation, our 40 years, is 3 years old.
Yeah, I can feel it, yeah.
And it's a heartbreaking age, because that's the alternative to saying yes. And you're not as wholehearted. So now let's go back there and let's ask Mother Mary. Yeah, she's one of my favorites. In Asia, more it's Kuan Yin and Buddha.
No, Mother Mary is fine, yeah.
Yeah, so ask her to bring holy family bonding into your family.
Yeah, I can feel it.
And see, it bonds everyone's mind, where they're in conflict. And then naturally it bonds them with the people around. And then there's a unity, a wholeness.
I can feel it, it's right. There's like a crack in the decision point, and it fills this crack up, and so everything is whole again. Yeah, I can feel it. Yeah.
And now, can you think of a time in your family now, with your ex-wife and your kids and things like this, where you had lost bonding, where there was great pain?
Oh yeah, 5-6 years ago.
Okay, so would you ask Mother Mary to bring in holy family bonding once more?
Oh yeah, that makes me cry. Yeah, I can feel it, yeah.
And then can you ask her to bring you back to heaven's path? Because 5-6 years ago you got on the ego's path, and that heads for, it doesn't go around the trees, it goes into the trees.
I can feel it. Yeah. There's a lot of fighting at this time and everything. Yeah.
But we could change that. We can change the past in the here and now. This is the place of power. And basically, what was happening back there was a misinterpretation. I found that all pain.
Yeah, for sure. I can see it. Yeah. There was a misinterpretation. Yeah.
And then, but when the truth comes in, or when you have understanding, which comes with bonding, it's like, oh, when people are acting out, you go, oh, poor baby, they're just bawling, they need me. But if you're wounded, then you're just, what are they doing that for?
It's like, it's an attack against me and everything, Yeah.
So if you can give up the independence, when you don't have bonding, you go for specialness. It's all about me, and then there's trouble because you're calling for attention. You want everybody to take care of you. And
wonderful, yeah, I can see it. I can feel it, really, I can feel it.
So when you're in a relationship, we usually project that on our partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're the more weaker sex, we're the more fragile and things like that. So.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Chuck. That's really helpful, and I think that's also for the people around the world. At the moment, I think everything is helpful, which shows the people a new way to the future. I think that's
unity is the answer. That's the answer. And so the things we're doing for fights, okay, and we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay,
but imagine now at 3 and 5 and 6 years ago that you just ask Mother Mary to carry you to heaven's path with your original family and your family then.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's playful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone is having a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from time to time, different layers, different memories come up. And, working in the unconscious, sometimes past life patterns come up, whether they exist or not. When you change the pattern, the person's pain is gone, and that's what counts. And then ancestral patterns are passed down. So, and there's ways to heal that. Back in the 70s, I found a way to heal that. I can tell you a quick story.
Okay.
We were, beside being a counselor, and running groups and therapy, I was also teaching at the training school. So they would have Marines and sailors come in to learn counseling skills. And then they would send them out to different places and things like this. So I got assigned to me a guy I really liked. He was 6'6", and he was a 6th-degree black belt in karate. He had done 3 tours in Vietnam. He kept signing up again. And his karate teacher in Okinawa, he said, I could go into the dojo any time of the night or day. I'd sneak in at 3 a.m. or come up through the floor, or come in through the ceiling, come in through the window. And as soon as I put one foot on the mat, my teacher would say, welcome, And he said he had that level of awareness. And he said, when you fight, you're aware of what's going on with you, and you're aware of what's going on with your opponent, but you're not yet aware of what's going on in the world. And how it affects the world. And when he went out on patrol, the sergeant is the most important person in the group, not the officer, because they don't know diddly about being in a offensive situation. He could smell booby traps. Okay. He could feel minefields. So he was the one, and he knew about ambushes. He could just smell them, So he, the point man is one who's 10 to 70 yards ahead of the rest of the group, keeping everything safe. He wouldn't let anybody else do that job because he knew that I got this. Yeah. But he came to me, and I had just talked about ancestral healing and that day in the therapy group and how it affects people. He says, all during your talk, he said, my heart was pounding. He said, I'm going on leave for the weekend and my wife is going to divorce me. He said, and this is the problem. He said, can you help me? I looked at my watch. I said, I have a really important meeting in 10 minutes. Let's go for it.
10 minutes to take everything,
I said, obviously, whose side of the family it began on? He said, my father's. I said, what happened? I said, how many generations ago? He said, 7. I've taught people to use their intuition because we have the answers inside. So 7 generations ago, his ancestor had been an officer at Valley Forge. And in the history of the U.S., this is a time where they have no provisions, no rations. They talked about the blood in the snow, people wrapping their feet in rags because they just, it was a poor army. And he felt, I'm the officer, I gotta get men going, and so he just became even tougher. And so that got passed down through the family until 4 generations later, which was 3 generations above him, the father died. So at 12 years old, the boy had to support the whole family. And he became doubly hard, and then it got passed down. And he said, I just inherited being a Marine. He said, I'm a tough guy, it's like, and my wife can't feel me. I said, and then we went back and we showed a different form of leadership, one that was inspirational rather than demanding, which was what the men needed. It was the balance. And then we brought that gift down through each generation. And then in the mind's eye, that parent didn't die. And so that bonding just kept flowing down and flowing into him. And he said, "Thank you so much. I can feel my heart again."
Wonderful.
You know. And so that was a Friday afternoon. I had to go to my meeting. Monday morning, he was waiting for me at the top of the stairs. And it just lifted me up. You know, and he goes, "Thank you."
Wonderful.
My wife and
such a good story.
Love again.
Oh yeah, wonderful. But is it also? I think it's a good message also for the world today to have more inspirational leadership for the world. Is it also a message for the world at the moment? Because I feel there's a lot of leadership from the old ways, like demanding people should do this. There's a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, whatever. But the inspirational, natural leadership, I think this is also a very important topic, what I feel, for the world.
Yeah, but the only thing that will inspire people is what inspires you. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you open your heart, if you're willing to give your heart to your company or your group or your wife or your children, you know, it's like then they'll respond.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chuck.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
It was really a pleasure. I could talk to you for hours because it's so interesting, all your stories and your messages and whatever. So I want to really thank you so much for your time and your openness to answer this question and give this message to the world. And I hope a lot of people will hear it. So I will send it out through the internet. Great. So that we have a next step and the next chance to go for hope and trust and everything.
I've written 53 books, but we did a family book called Glimpses of Home.
Glimpses of Home. Well, that's a good title of it, right?
And my wife wrote stories, and I wrote stories and poetry. The things but that was the one book. It wasn't problem solving. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like what inspired me, what touched my heart, what has me moving forward. Mm-hmm.
Wow, wonderful. That's a good idea also to buy this book and take a look for inspiration and the vision. I think that's so important.
And it's in German and English.
Oh, it's in German also. Oh, that's good news. Yeah, that's great. I will put it on the notes for this podcast, and I put it where to find this book. Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the really quick stories.
Yeah, sure. We have time.
So there's a big storm, and this guy looks out at the beach, and there's a kid picking up thousands of He's picking up starfish one by one and throwing them into the ocean. And the guy goes up to him and he goes, "What are you doing? You can't help. Look, it's huge. You know, you can't make a difference."
Yeah.
And the kid just doesn't stop. He just goes on to the next starfish, picks it up, throws it into the ocean, said, "Made a difference to that one."
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a point. Step by step. People by people going on. Yeah, thanks a lot. So, by the way, we have to mention if the people who are listening to this podcast want to read something from you, there will be a magazine coming out in the next weeks. Fact 1. There's an article from our last podcast. We put together an article so you can read a little bit more about Chuck. And there are also on your site a lot of information. I think there will be some online workshops and also a huge workshop, I think, in next summer or so in Germany.
Yeah.
In summer. And there will be also workshops with you in Hawaii. For sure. Yeah. I have to go next time to Hawaii, so be back again in Hawaii. And also, we're talking about 1 week ago about my new book, which came out in the beginning of the next year about trust. And you say you want to write the foreword for it, but I really appreciate it, and I'm so lucky about it that you promised to write some lines and some pages as a foreword for the very important topic of trust. So there will be a new book of mine. Thanks a lot, Chuck. Yeah. It was an honor to speak with you. Thanks a lot for your openness and your time here. And thanks a lot, and see you next time in Germany, and maybe next summer or maybe before, we will see. But hopefully the world will make it and go in the right direction.
Just one last thing.
Yeah, sure.
You know, whose back are you called to cover so that they're safe? You know, it's like who's the one calling right now that
at the moment
you can
my kids. Yeah.
So you be there and, you know, you don't have to say anything. It's like dad jokes or
I have really dirty dad jokes. They hate me for that.
Yeah.
So,
I know, they're a different generation. But it's, and like with my wife, I got her back and I got her front. You know, so,
I know.
and it's like to just keep going towards someone because then more friendship opens up, intimacy opens up. You know? And when you join anyone, this grace comes through, this power comes through.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, my friend. So.